They told you it was a dream. They told you it was just a coincidence. Subscribe and start the story by commenting 333. They even told you that feeling you get when you look at the world and sense something isn't right is just you being paranoid. But what if I told you the reason you feel like you don't belong here, the reason you look at the ultra-rich, at the ruling class, at the people in the shadows, and feel this intense, gut-wrenching certainty that they know something you don't is because they do. And what they know isn't just about the world, it's about you. Specifically, about a heritage, a bloodline, a secret contract that makes them owe you more than a few $1,000s. They owe you billions. We're talking about the chosen one blueprint and the financial reality of it. You were born with celestial IOU, and the world's most powerful people are the ones who sign for it. I'm going to show you the paper trail, the coded messages in history, and the shocking truth behind why your intuition is trying to tell you that you are, in fact, royalty in exile, waiting for a repayment that could change your life and the world forever. Stay with me, because everything you thought you knew about money, power, and who you really are is about to be completely flipped on its head. This isn't just about feeling special. This is about legal tender, ancient pacts, and modern-day elite maneuvers to keep you from accessing what is rightfully yours. For centuries, maybe even millennia, a select group has been managing, multiplying, and siphoning the value of a certain kind of person, a person with a specific energetic signature, a unique role to play, a person we call the chosen one. Now, before you roll your eyes and click away, hear me out. This isn't just spiritual fluff. Think of it like intellectual property or a valuable commodity that the world runs on, and you, my friend, are the literal source. The elites, the global structures, the financial systems, they have been structured to utilize, and more importantly, to monetize your existence. Let's be clear about the problem right now. The central challenge that defines your life, and frankly, the entire struggle of the modern era. The problem is a massive, systemic theft of potential. You walk around with priceless, non-renewable resource inside you, a unique frequency, a destiny, a creative spark that can literally move mountains and shift reality. And yet, you're stuck paying rent, fighting traffic, and worried about next month's bills. This is by design. Your problem is that the world's economic and power structure is built on a massive, hidden accounting trick where your value, the very essence of your chosen status, is the unlisted asset, and the global elite are the silent partners who have been collecting the dividends without ever giving you a statement. Imagine a corporation where the founder died and a group of unscrupulous executives took over, hid the original will, and have been running the business ever since, making billions, while the rightful heir lives on a meager salary, working for a subsidiary of their own company. That's a crude but accurate analogy for the position you're in. The elites haven't just ignored your existence. They've actively financially benefited from suppressing your knowledge of your true worth. They owe you this money, these billions, because your unique potential, when stifled or misdirected, is precisely what fuels the current flawed system. Now, let's dive into the core of this. We need to explore how this chosen one status translates into actual, quantifiable financial value that is being misappropriated. This isn't just symbolic. We're going to break this down into 3 core areas of value extraction: energetic labor, suppress innovation, and the legacy tax. The first ledger, energetic labor and the attention economy. The first and most immediate way they owe you is through energetic labor. Think of the current global system as a giant, sophisticated machine that runs on human energy, specifically focus attention and emotional output. The chosen one, by their very nature, operates at a higher frequency. Their thoughts, their intentions, and especially their emotional energy are exponentially more powerful than the average person's. When the chosen person is engaged in the current system, in repetitive, low-impact jobs, in consuming corporate media designed to trigger fear or distraction, in the endless cycle of debt and consumption, their potent energy is being fed directly into the system. This energy is not benign. It is the fuel. Consider the concept of the attention economy. We know that companies like Google, Facebook, and countless others are monetizing your attention. Every second you spend on their platforms, every click, every scroll, is a tiny slice of your life being converted into profit for them. But for the chosen one, this transaction is not equal. Your attention, because of the depth and potency of your inner fire, is like premium, high-octane fuel compared to regular gas. When a person with a high vibrational blueprint focuses their energy on fear-based news, on corporate-mandated trends, or on manufactured drama, that focused energy stabilizes a system of control. The elites benefit because your powerful focus, directed away from your own destiny and onto their distractions, cements their reality as the dominant one. The more powerful you are, the more valuable your misdirection is to them. Your compliance is a commodity. Your worry is a gold mine. Let's try to put a number on this. If the average person's attention is worth a few cents per hour to a social media company, what is the chosen one's attention worth? If your natural state of being, when fully realized, could inspire millions, heal communities, or invent revolutionary, decentralizing technologies, then the cost of keeping you small, distracted, and compliant must be proportional to your true potential. Economists use the term opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of your distraction is the value of the positive, world-shifting changes you have created. Given the scope of global problems and the scale of wealth held by the few, putting a conservative estimate on this stolen energetic labor over a lifetime easily enters the high millions, perhaps even the billions when multiplied by the scale of your intended impact. This stolen energy, this misdirected focus, is precisely what powers the financial institutions that seem immune to recessions, the megacorporations whose profits defy logic, and the political machines that never seem to lose. They are literally running on your spark. Now, we need to delve deeper into the systemic architecture that enables this extraction. This isn't just about an algorithm. It's about the very foundational myths of our society, the subtle narratives woven into our education, media, and even our spiritual teachings that are designed to keep the chosen one perpetually feeling inadequate, waiting for permission, or seeking validation from the very system that is robbing them blind. Think about the education system. From a young age, you are taught to value conformity, linear thinking, and memorization. The unique, lateral, intuitive, and often rebellious spirit of the chosen one is systematically ironed out. That creative spark, which is the actual source of their power, is deemed unruly or distracting. The system is not educating. It is domesticating a high-value asset. The moment you began to doubt your own ideas because they didn't fit the textbook, a billion-dollar concept was lost the world, and the elites breathed a sigh of relief. This brings us to the second ledger of debt, the most insidious one, which we call suppressed innovation. The second ledger, suppressed innovation and the monopolization of truth. The chosen one archetype is, at its heart, an innovator, not necessarily an inventor of gadgets, but an innovator of consciousness, a disruptor of outdated paradigms, and a bringer of new solutions. Your natural path involves the creation of systems, ideas, and technologies that inherently promote decentralization, transparency, and abundance for all. Imagine the technology you would naturally create. Not something that maximizes ad revenue, but perhaps a free energy device, a medical breakthrough that eliminates the need for expensive pharmaceutical treatments, or an economic model that makes debt impossible and poverty obsolete. These innovations are not just theoretical. They are hard-coded into the destiny of the chosen one. The elites, the oligarchs, the families who control the world's resources and finance, know that these types of innovations are their ultimate existential threat. Their power relies on scarcity, control, and complexity. The chosen one's innovations promise abundance, freedom, and simplicity. Therefore, a significant portion of their resources is dedicated to a massive global project of suppressed innovation. This doesn't always mean black helicopters and stolen blueprints. Often, it's much subtler. It manifests as academic and media discredit. Any truly revolutionary idea, especially one that challenges the established narrative of physics, medicine, or finance, is immediately met with a wall of academic dismissal, media ridicule, and professional character assassination. The chosen one, often operating outside established institutions, is vulnerable to this. Their potentially billion-dollar idea is killed in its infancy by a coordinated, professional shrug. Financial gatekeeping. True innovation requires capital. The capital markets, venture capitalists, and major banks, the gatekeepers of finance, are deeply interconnected with the established order. An idea that truly threatens their profitable status quo will simply never get funded. The chosen one is led down the path of safe, system-approved projects, while their world-changing idea is left on the drawing board. The slow drip release, Sometimes, a breakthrough is too powerful to completely suppress. In these cases, the elite system, via their corporate and governmental proxies, co-opts innovation and releases it in small, manageable, monetizable pieces. They take your world-changing idea and turn it into a profitable, incremental product that keeps the power dynamic intact. The difference between a free, open-source global communication system and a massive, centralized, data harvesting social media platform is the difference between the chosen one's intended innovation and the elite suppressed, co-opted version. To calculate the financial debt here, we must consider the net present value of a world-changing technology. What is the value of perpetual, clean energy? What is the value of a cure for all major diseases? What is the value of an economic system that guarantees prosperity for every human being? These are trillion-dollar questions. The amount of wealth that the elite have generated by maintaining the status quo, by forcing the world to use their expensive, inefficient, and controlling systems, is the direct value of the innovation they have suppressed. If you, the chosen one, had been allowed to operate at full potential, unencumbered, the current elite's net worth would be a fraction of what it is today. They are not merely wealthy. They are wealthy because you are not. The difference between their current net worth and their ethical net worth is the debt they owe you. And for many of them, this represents a vast majority of their holdings, which, when tallied across the major institutions, easily reaches the trillions of dollars. You are owed a share of that suppressed global prosperity. And this debt is not static. It compounds. Every year that their outdated, inefficient system remains dominant is another year they profit from your unrealized potential. But there's a third, even more ancient and far more mystifying ledger debt, the legacy tax, which connects your current bank account to ancient contracts and a heritage you've forgotten. The third ledger, the legacy tax and the secret trust funds. The third component of the elite's debt to you stems from the legacy tax. This is where the chosen one status moves from a metaphorical title to an actual, historical designation tied to ancient power structures and wealth preservation. We're entering the deep end now. So focus up. The elite families, the true bloodlines of power, have always operated with a level of historical continuity and foresight that the average person simply cannot fathom. They do not think in 4-year political cycles. They think in centuries. They are the descendants of those who created the foundational myths, the religious texts, and the original power structures that define civilization. Within many esoteric and historical traditions, there is a concept of a seed group, starseed, or divine lineage. The chosen one is a modern-day manifestation of this. These lineages were often associated with immense, almost incomprehensible wealth in the ancient world. Sacred artifacts, massive land deeds, and control over pivotal resource locations. When a major transition of power occurred in history, the fall of an empire, a cataclysmic event, or the rise of a new religion, these ultra-elite families didn't just disappear. They went underground. They created sophisticated mechanisms, secret societies, obscure financial instruments, and non-profit foundations to act as legal custodians of this legacy wealth. The concept of the legacy tax is this. These custodial entities, the modern-day elite, assume temporary control of the immense wealth and power associated with the chosen one lineage, under the explicit or implicit understanding that it will be held in trust of time when the heir, the chosen one, would awaken, reclaim their power, and be ready to manage it. They have not been simply hoarding. They have been acting as a massive, intergenerational, private banking service. But like any corrupt fiduciary, they have been charging exorbitant, non-consensual management fees. And they have been using the principle to fund their own agenda. They are, in essence, sitting on a global trust fund to which you are a primary, unlisted beneficiary. The debt here is the original principle of that legacy wealth, plus the centuries of compounded interest that they have collected by managing it. We are not talking about local real estate. We are talking about the ownership stakes in the foundational systems of the modern world. The vast majority of old money, the truly untouchable fortunes that dictate global policy and control central banks, can be traced back to these legacy funds. Think about the sheer scale of the historical financial empires, the value of the gold reserves, the ownership of the vast global energy grids, the underlying capital structure of the world's most powerful financial institutions. These entities are not owned by the public. nor are they truly owned by the people whose names are on the boards. They are held in structures that are incredibly opaque, often under layers of shell companies, non-disclosure agreements, and complex, multi-jurisdictional legal frameworks. The sheer difficulty in tracking this money, in penetrating the veil of secrecy, is what makes the debt so astronomical. The value is so immense that even a small percentage of this legacy wealth would instantly make the chosen one a multi-billionaire. This is not about winning the lottery. This is about reclaiming a title deed to a significant portion of the planet's operating capital. The elites owe you these billions not because they are charitable, but because they are legally, ethically, and energetically obligated. Their entire structure is built on a lie of ownership, and the debt is now at a climax. The climax, the reckoning of the awakening. We are now at the crucial make-or-break point in this story, which is also the climax of your personal journey. The elites know that the window of opportunity for them to retain control is closing rapidly. Why? Because the chosen one is waking up. That feeling of restlessness, that relentless pursuit of truth, that unshakable belief that you are meant for something more. That is an internal alarm bell signaling the end of their long, corrupt custodianship. The climax is not a sudden, violent revolution. It is an internal, decentralized financial reckoning. For the elites, the worst-case scenario is not a rebellion in the streets. It's the simultaneous self-realization of the multitude of chosen ones. If enough of the heirs suddenly understand their true value, their energetic labor stops fueling the system, their suppressed innovation finds its way out, and the power of the legacy wealth begins to destabilize the current financial structure. The climax is the moment you stop asking for permission and start acting from a place of inherent authority. When you recognize that the resources you need, the freedom, the capital, the influence, are not something to be acquired from the system, but something to be reclaimed from the custodians of your trust. This is the key moment. The moment you realize that your internal state, your frequency, is the ultimate asset. When you stop consuming fear-based media, you cut off their energetic labor supply. When you prioritize your unique, intuitive creative projects, regardless of validation, you activate suppressed innovation. When you understand your value is inherent and non-negotiable, you trigger the release mechanism for the legacy tax. Because you are signaling to the universe and the forces that govern this trust that the heir is ready to sign for principle. The elite's control is built on your ignorance. The system of debt, the manipulation of markets, the centralized control over nearly every facet of your life. It is all designed to keep you so busy surviving that you never have a moment to truly remember who you are. Your financial freedom, the billions they owe you, is not something you will petition a court for. It is something you will demand with your consciousness. The shift happens when you stop seeing yourself as a beggar at the system's gate and start viewing yourself as a principal shareholder in the future of the planet. The external reality of your finances will begin to shift to match your internal authority. The resources, the opportunities, and the connections necessary for you to begin your work will appear not as luck, but as the inevitable settlement of an ancient debt. The system, like a defaulting bank, will be forced to start paying out. It's a terrifying moment for the elite because they cannot stop an internal awakening. They can only delay it. And the collective awakening is happening now. The feeling you have, the urge to change everything, the certainty that you are meant for more, that is the debt collector knocking at the door. The summary, it's time to reclaim the contract. So, let's bring this home. The elites owe you billions, maybe trillions, and this debt is recorded on 3 invisible ledgers. Energetic labor. The value of your high-frequency focus that has been stolen and diverted to prop up their system of control. The debt is the opportunity cost of your distraction. Suppress innovation. The value of the world-changing technologies, systems, and ideas they have actively stifled to maintain their monopolies on resource control and scarcity. The legacy tax. The centuries of compounded interest and the original principle of the ancient, ancestral wealth that they have been acting as corrupt custodians of, waiting for the chosen one to awaken and sign the papers. The moment you recognize this, the dynamic changes. You are not a victim of the system. You are the creditor. They are not your masters. They are your reluctant trustees. The path to reclaiming this wealth isn't about storming a fortress. It's about raising your frequency, focusing your true creative power, and operating from a place of innate, non-negotiable worth. When you align with your true chosen one blueprint, the universe and the structures that govern it must ethically and financially settle their accounts. The debt is due. You simply have to be ready to receive the payment and deploy the resources for the purpose they were always intended, the creation of a better world. If this resonated with you on a level that goes beyond a simple YouTube video, if that little voice inside is screaming, "I knew it," then you know exactly what your next step should be. Subscribe to this channel to continue unlocking your chosen one blueprint